Hello, hello, hello. It is me, Greg Underdahl, and we are going to do what are we going to call this? This is a recap of REDCREST 2021, and if you've not joined me before, this is what I do. I do these little recaps. I'm a professional videographer, and I film the Bass Pro Tour. I film the Cup events, the Major League Fishing Cup events, and the Bass Pro Tour. And so what I've been doing on this Angling Uploaded YouTube channel is doing recaps of these events. And so basically I recap the Bass Pro Tour events. So I'm going to go through REDCREST 2020. I kind of messed up. In the past, I've tried to do every day of these different Bass Pro Tour events, but honestly, there's some problems with that. I'm in a hotel room right now. I just actually got off the water, got back to my hotel room, set up my lights here. This is a new setup I'm using. It's like a live stream setup I bought at Target. The light is blinding me. It's an LED light plugged into, it's kind of a nifty contraption. It's plugged into it's a USB light basically, but it's got all these kind of like bendable arms. The light is on a bendable arm, and then my camera, my iPhone is actually on another bendable arm. It's actually pretty cool, and it's clamped to this desk that I'm at here. So I'm going to be doing this throughout the year, all of 2021. Like I said, in the past, I would try to do all of the. And if I ramble on here, it's been a long week. Okay, this is very tiring work. Hope you appreciate me taking the time out to talk with you. Why am I looking at the light? I need to be looking at the camera. I'm not a moth. But anyway, so in the past I've tried to do every day, but it's so exhausting. I don't want to burn myself out, so I'm going to do the final day, recap everything that kind of happened in the week. Not everything that happened in the week, but more talking about the final day, what it was like. And one of the other reasons too for doing that is that in this hotel room, a lot of times there's other anglers around, so I was kind of getting concerned that it is possible that another angler could hear what I'm talking about, and you don't want that, obviously, for obvious reasons. So makes more sense to do this on the final day, and so that's what we're going to do. So REDCREST 2021, is that light flickering? Don't flicker light. REDCREST 2021. Am I going to have to take this back to Target? Stop, knock it off right now. I can't look into the light either because I'm now just like blinded. But REDCREST 2021, what a deal. So we had this crazy cold front that came down from Canada. And I think, whenever that happens, we need to blame Canada for that. I don't think it's worthy of going to war, but it's my computer all of a sudden, like I have a computer in front of me that I'm looking at my notes. It just all of a sudden decided that it's going to start Safari, which is just crazy. No, we're going to quit Safari. But anyway, so REDCREST was initially supposed to be at Lake Palestine in Texas. Crazy cold front comes down, freezes like lakes in Texas, so we have to move it. The whole event needs to move to Lake Eufaula in Alabama, and I've spent a ton of time on Lake Eufaula. I've been doing this for 21 years, and my first job out of college was with Bass Pro Shops, and I actually filmed retail videos down here on Lake Eufaula with Woo Daves, actually. So Woo's Clues. I actually filmed and edited a retail video for Bass Pro Shops called Woo's Clues here in Eufaula, Alabama. So I have a lot of history on this lake. So everything moved here, and weather was pretty much awesome this week. So I was getting kind of concerned about cold weather coming into this. It's not like I'm scared of cold weather. I live in Minnesota, but it is can be very difficult to film in. I was glad to see that we were going to be experiencing a warming trend throughout the week. So let's get into it. If you haven't watched this before, any of my recap videos before, if you're new to this, like I said, I am a freelance videographer. Most of the work that I've done in video production has been fishing related, outdoors related. I am a fisherman. I love to fish. I've made this part of, I made it my career basically. So that's why I do what I do, because I love to fish so much. So basically I get paired up. How they do it is I get a text that tells, the night before who I'm going to be paired with the next day. And I got a text the night before day one that I'd be paired with Jacob Wheeler. And I've worked with Jacob Wheeler a lot. I'd be paired with him for the day one elimination round. So I'll kind of explain how that all works if you're not aware. Oh, by the way, you can see that I'm completely burned. This is nice. This is real nice. This is nice. And my earlobe is just absolutely hammered. So like I said, I live in Minnesota. Did I say that? I can't remember. I live in Minnesota, and I haven't seen the sun for about 4 or 5 months. I've seen the sun, but it's not like, it's different. And so I was so excited to have sun just baking on my face. I said, the hell with sunscreen. And that's what happens. So anyway, day one, I was paired with Jacob Wheeler, and I've worked with Jacob a lot. I really enjoyed filming Jacob. He's an exceptional angler. Obviously, his record speaks for itself, but he's really good to work with. It's a lot of fun being in the boat with him. Unfortunately, I should have been taking better notes this whole time, which I will do in the future. So I'm going to go through these days pretty quickly to get to day 5, the championship day, today. Because quite frankly, my memory's better, and that's really why you're watching this, because we're interested in the last day, the championship day of REDCREST. So anyway, so I was with Jacob Wheeler first day. Jacob Wheeler was fishing offshore structure, like brush piles, not structure. He was fishing brush piles. The difference between structure and cover: structure is humps, anything at the bottom, that's structure. A drop off, a hump. I hear people getting these confused. Structure is a hump, a drop off, a creek channel. Cover is a dock, a lay down, brush piles. See the difference? So anyway, Jacob Wheeler was fishing brush piles, not real deep brush piles. That was kind of what anybody that was offshore wasn't fishing really deep. I guess 8 to 12 foot brush piles is kind of what most of these guys were doing this week. And one of the things that was kind of funny, Jacob caught a nice fish kind of earlier in the morning. He's got this Igloo cooler. I believe he's sponsored by Igloo. And he's got a bell that he kind of like glued on to the cooler. And so he caught a good one, and he went ding. And so if you saw that was me filming that. It was I hope you're impressed. Anyway, so Jacob, I was with him for a while, and then they moved me. What happens is, so that first day, the first day elimination, let me make sure I got this right. It's 40 guys. The whole field goes out, right? And so they cut it. There's 2 days of elimination. All 40 anglers go out both days, day 1 and day 2. The second day they cut to only the top 20 guys, right? So that's how that works. So on day 1, I got notified that they were gonna the powers that be at Major League Fishing were gonna move me to another angler, and they moved me to Zach Burge. If you could tell, I'm kind of looking at my notes here because my memory sucks, y'all. It absolutely sucks. So they moved me to Zach Burge, and Zach Burge was fishing it looked like it was about a 3/4 ounce, possibly even an ounce spinnerbait, something like that. I don't know if it was an ounce. I would say maybe a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait. And I believe it was double willow. Big. He had the back blade was a big, willow leaf spinner or willow leaf blade on it, and it was white, and it had a little like on the chin. It was like orange. I don't know if that made any difference, but he didn't have a whole lot of them. He was fishing that, and he was fishing those around brush piles, also not very deep, and he was just slow rolling them through that stuff. He was fishing that thing real slow through those brush piles. And the water temperature, I want to say, was like low 50s at first. But we had this, it was really interesting because all of the country was like frigid, right? Including Alabama. And then about the start of this tournament, things were starting to warm up. So everybody was really looking forward to like, okay, things are going to get on here. It's going to be, we're hitting this perfectly. Or so, that was the idea. Okay, so great time fishing or filming with Zach. Zach is I haven't worked with Zach that much, but this week I worked with him a lot, and he's a great angler. I really thought he had a chance of winning this thing. I really, really did. And the fish he was catching offshore were big and catching great quality fish. I really thought he had a shot. But he's a really versatile angler. It fishes. I mean, these young anglers I'm so impressed by. Zach Burge being one of them. All right, so day 2 was... again, the second round of elimination. Again, all 40 anglers come out, but on this day, they're cutting to only the top 20. So basically, I started with Zach Burge, and again, he was fishing brush piles with that spinnerbait. I feel so dehydrated right now. I'll get through this, I promise. We'll make it through. Anyway, so he fishing offshore with brush piles with spinnerbait, same spinnerbait, same deal, and he's catching them, but it's kind of like he's solidly, in that top 20. So there's not much of a storyline. He's as far as the producers are like, okay, Zach's in, no doubt. He's firmly gonna make it into the cut. So what they do is, it's great television. They want to follow people around that elimination line, that 20 line. So people that are like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, around that. Fletcher Shryock was one of those anglers, so they moved me to capture the drama at the cut line there. And whenever you do a boat transfer, it's a little stressful, just because you never, you got to put yourself in the shoes of the angler. The whole day, like Fletcher had been just fishing, just with a boat official and not having a camera on him, and then he knows that he's so close to to making the cut, and then it's so stressful, and then all of a sudden here comes a camera guy that needs to mic you, and now you got to deal with me capturing you, and it's just another layer. He's already stressed, but it was just another layer of stress. He's always been great to work with, and he handles it great, but I always try to put myself into the angler's shoes, and I try to be like a mouse on the boat. I don't want to. I want to be as unobtrusive. I don't want to. I don't want them to hardly even notice me in the back. I mean, I have to ask questions, from time to time. But I in general, how I operate is the back of the boat. I zoom in, I get everything I need, and I just want to be like just a mouse. I don't want to make any noise. I just, I'm there to document this angler's day. So Fletcher, Michael. So at the end there, so it's really stressful. Fletcher's right on the 20. He's right in the 20th place, right? And Michael Neal is a killer. Michael Neal is a phenomenal angler, and he's right there. I think Michael Neal was like in 21st place. He needed, I can't remember what he needed, but he needed like, I don't know if he needed like 3 pounds or something like that, to get over and bump Fletcher out. And that's exactly what happened. It was like 30 seconds, right? Michael Neal hooks a good fish, bumps Fletcher out in like the last 30 seconds. Fletcher has no idea, right? It hasn't gone to the score tracker yet, but I can hear it in my ear. I'm hearing the live show. I got headphones that are connected to this encoder, which sends the signal out that I'm filming, which is incredible technology, this live technology. But I can also hear, not only does that encoder send my video signal out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they do the live show, but I can also hear what's happening going on the live show. So I can tell, they can direct me what they need. I can, hear everything. So I can hear the live show going on. I hear that Michael Neal has bumped Fletcher out. Fletcher has no idea. 30 seconds, it's like 15 seconds left, and Fletcher sets the hook, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe he'll Fletcher will get right back in. And the fish comes off. So that is like the drama of Major League Fishing. That's what I love about this format that we haven't had in bass fishing before. I grew up with the Bassmasters. Phenomenal show, still a phenomenal show. This format is really leads to a different like drama than the 5 fish limit that is the traditional like standard. And I think there's just going to be a number of changes in the sport because of what Major League Fishing has brought to the table here. But so Fletcher it was just heartbreaking because my boat official, I could hear the apprehension in his voice when he saw on Score Tracker what had happened, and that Fletcher at the last seconds had been bumped out. And it's really it's hard to be in the boat when that happens. Fletcher handled it well, but it is awkward, I must say, because I empathize with what the anglers are going through there. So day 4, and oh no, hold on, we're I gotta get moving here. We don't want to make this into an hour-long recap. So day 3 is the knockout round, Group A, and I was with Zach Burge, and how that works is that you got to get into the top 5 to. So basically, here's how it works. You get 20 guys, right, that made it from the elimination round. They get brought into days 3 and 4. They get separated. Those 20 guys get separated into 10 on day 3, 10 on day 4 of the knockout round, right? So day 3 of those 10 anglers, only 5 move on to the championship round. So they got to get into the top 5. And I'm with Zach Burge. Zach Burge is doing the same thing. This is why my memory sucks, so please bear with me. I think Zach, if he didn't win, he did. I mean, he made it in the top 5. Catching big fish. I was like, this dude is, he's got a good chance of winning this thing. I really felt that way. Again, that spinnerbait. And he told me, too, he said he's got a bunch of other brush piles. He hasn't even fished yet. And he also, he easily was in the top 5. And again, I can't even remember whether he might have even placed first in that, but that doesn't even matter. It's just all that matters is getting in that top 5. But at the end of the day, he was solidly in the top 5, and he went and kind of practiced just for the championship gate, basically, kind of pre-fishing for it. And he's like, okay, I feel confident about the offshore thing, but I need to go in shallow too and see if I can catch some fish off at docks. And he goes in shallow and he catches fish off a dock, and he was done. And so he's like, I'm good. So he had the next day off, and so he was in the championship round on day 4. Day 4 of the knockout round. So that's Group B would be, so day 3 was of the knockout round was Group A. Day 4 of the knockout room is knockout round is Group B. And so again, these new 10 anglers got to get into the top 5, right? So I'm with Randall Tharp, and he's fishing shallow all day. Fishing shallow. He's fishing docks and laydowns, and it's just not happening. He's fishing a lipless, or a bladed jig, and it ain't going, and it's so right, like it feels so right. And he's fishing like coves. He's fishing in places where these fish should be moving into spawn, and honestly, they're just not there. And so what's interesting about that is that the whole time everything's warming up. It's just feeling absolutely right. And the days that was day 4, and it was just a warming trend. And we'd gotten into the 70s, and mid 70s, high 70s. And conventional wisdom would say, okay, well, those fish should be moving in now. It's like getting upper 50s water temperature. Those fish, like 60 degrees is like that temperature that everybody says that's when they spawn, right? So move shallow, fish in coves, protected bays, all that stuff. And that's what Randall was doing. It just was not happening. And my theory is that it had been so cold previously that these fish are like in no hurry to go shallow and then have another crazy cold front come in. So it's like they're just taking their time. I mean, who knows what's going on, in their heads. I mean, you can have all kinds of theories, but ultimately it's almost like just guessing, But I think Randall, I think he only caught 2 scoreable bass that day. So it was disappointing. It would have been awesome if he had made it. I've enjoyed filming with Randall in the past. One thing that he said this story that I thought was really, really interesting. And if you've watched my videos or smallmouth fishing, I'm a big believer in power bait, Berkeley power bait. I've seen power bait work firsthand when I was like 17, it might have been 18. Anyway, 17, let's say I was 17 years old. Fishing a Cory, a very clear Cory that had smallmouth in it. And they were not interested in artificial lures. They were very, very particular, very finicky. I put it on a 7-inch power bait one time, 7-inch worm, power worm. And it was night and day difference. I've said this story so many times, but it's true. From that day forward, I knew that scent, was a factor, particularly for large or for smallmouth. I've seen them actually attracted to it, like going up investigating a bait, and them being sold. They can smell it and then they eat it. Whereas if you took a normal, just regular plastic worm, they'd come up to it and then they'd back away. So that I got sold on power bait very early on in my life. And so that being said, so Randall Tharp was telling a story about how he fished a tournament one time where this guy, his co-angler, was rubbing smelly jelly on a rattle trap. And his co-angler was kicking his butt. And so he then put smelly jelly is like this petroleum-based fish attractant, and it sticks even on hard baits. So it's got that real benefit to it. It'll stay on a hard bait, right? And so he said that this co-angler of his put this smelly jelly on this rattle trap, and he said that his co-angler was kicking his butt. So he's like, okay, let me try it. He put it on his rattle trap and started catching them, and he actually even saw them following the rattle trap. I had never heard anything like this before in my life. I've always just been like, okay, I'm a big believer in power bait or scent. I've always been kind of skeptical of sprays because I feel like they come off easy, but I'm a big believer in power bait, right? So, but I've always just thought scent is important if it's just on the bottom, slow presentations. What Randall was saying there was like really pretty eye-opening that, this smelly jelly, putting it on a fast-moving bait, a hard bait, a rattle trap, that's a fast-moving bait, and it was they were attracted to it, like they were getting sold on it. So I'm going to have to rethink some things there, but I thought I'd pass that along to you because I'd never thought about that before. But that's a pretty interesting story that I think I'm probably going to change my beliefs there a bit. I might start thinking more about scent with moving baits. So I thought I'd just pass that along to you. Okay, so here we go. Day 5 today, championship round of the REDCREST 2021, and I'm with Zach Burge, and I'm feeling like this is going to happen, right? And so Zach goes out, he goes way down lake by the dam, and he's fishing offshore, not super deep. It's 8 to 12 feet of water, I think was the depth he was fishing, and he was slow rolling that spinnerbait, and man, off to a great start. He's tearing it up the first period. Catching fish consistently. You got a fish right off the bat. Good one. I think it was like a 4-pounder was his first fish, or maybe even a 5-pounder. His fish off there offshore too were like consistently they were bigger fish. Quality was way better out there. So I'm thinking he could run away with this. But this is the thing about fishing. Things can go south and change so quickly. And the shocker, and this is a perfect example of that, is that Brian Thrift, who had just torn up, his knockout round. Just lapped the field basically, was doing terrible. Like his bite was like dead. And so it just goes to show you how things can change so dramatically in fishing, and that's kind of what happened too with Zach. His bite died. I think his bite died in the middle of the second period, and it was like just done. And here comes Dustin Connell, and I've worked with Dustin before. Dustin was fishing brush piles too, but my understanding, so keep in mind I'm listening to all this in my ear, a headphone into my encoder, which sends a signal out, live signal out. I'm listening to the live show, and it sounded like how Dustin won. He was fishing brush piles with a jerkbait, but it had a lip on it that was just a deeper, a deeper diving lip is what I'm trying to say. So a deeper jerkbait, and that's how he was catching the majority of his fish. And I'm telling you, like, one of my favorite lures is jerkbait because it triggers fish so well. Like a spinnerbait or a jig, there's only so much triggering you can do with those lures. But with a jerkbait, you can make it just and speed is super important. There are times like a lot of times, the more erratic you can make a jerkbait, you can trigger a fish that wasn't into biting. And so it sounds like that's what Dustin did. And that was the key to his success because, Zach was fishing different brush piles, new brush piles. He used up all his brush piles, tried some other ones, and they still weren't, going. So I think that if, hindsight is 2020, of course, but it would have been interesting to see if Dustin, with that jerkbait, could have caught fish off the same brush piles that Zach was fishing that weren't interested in that spinnerbait. Zach used some different baits. He threw a little swim bait. Actually, it was really cool. Like in the morning, Zach threw a really big swing bait. He'd fished for a while with a spinnerbait, and then he threw a really big swim bait and caught one doing that. He switched it up a lot, but it was more like this slow rolling kind of presentation. Whereas that jerkbait's a totally different presentation. It can really trigger him. It would have been really interesting to see if Dustin would have caught those fish with that jerkbait presentation. So I'll tell you, I'll kind of end on this. It is the year of the forward-facing sonar. It has gone mainstream, y'all. And if you're a tournament angler, I got to tell you that if you don't have it, you're going to have your ass whooped. I've seen it. I saw it last year. It's a new era. It's going to change fishing. I don't know. It's debatable for the good. I hope for the good. But it is incredible technology. Zach was using it. I think Dustin was using it. I'm pretty sure most guys were using it. And if you don't have it, you're at such a disadvantage. I heard that Humminbird, I'm a big Humminbird guy, I heard they're coming out with a forward-facing sonar that they've been working a lot on. They've been testing it out, is what I've heard, a ton. They're actually Humminbirds here in Eufaula, which is kind of cool. So it is I hate to use this term, it's so overused, but forward-facing sonar is a game changer. So I'm really looking forward to this Humminbird forward-facing sonar that's supposed to be coming out this year. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and make sure, if you enjoy the video, subscribe to Angling Uploaded, and we also have a Patreon account. That is really subscribing and then also supporting us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com, become a patron. Just search Angling Uploaded and you'll receive exclusive benefits. I put content up there before anywhere else. So we're going to do exclusive live streams, giveaways, so check that out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.